Picture it. 9:37 in the morning. Monaco. The yachts are still hung over from F1 weekend. And Amigo is standing in the middle of the street, fists half clenched, screaming at a chauffeur in a black van about keeping his hands off the women in the back seat. Yeah, that Migo. I had to watch the clip twice before my brain accepted what my eyes were doing. Because the script you'd write for Offset's June does not include saves women from possible trafficking situation outside Casino de Monte Carlo. And yet, stick around, because the second half of this, the Stefon Diggs pink bag meltdown, is where it gets stupid. Quick housekeeping before the dominoes fall. If you rock with the unfiltered version of these stories, hit that subscribe, slap the bell, drop a like. Y'all already know the algorithm rewards the loud ones, so be loud for me. Now let's get into it. Monday morning, June 8th. Monaco. One day after the Formula One Grand Prix wrapped its 2026 circuit through the Principality. Offset, Kiari Cephus, the one most of y'all just call Set, is caught on camera in a screaming match with a driver outside a black van, accusing the man of grabbing women by the neck and yanking their hair to force them out of the vehicle. TMZ obtained the footage and broke the story Sunday evening Pacific time. That's the bone structure. Everything else is meat. Now watch this. Let's go to the tape. Direct quotes only. No editorializing yet. From the video itself, Offset, visibly enraged, repeatedly directed at the driver. He's grabbing the girls by the neck. I don't give a F. Okay. TMZ's own framing, published June 8th. Offset nearly came to blows in Monaco, going off on a driver he claims put hands on women during a chaotic street confrontation caught on video. A separate eyewitness account cited by the Jasmine brand. Sources cited by TMZ alleged the driver was pulling women's hair and attempting to force them out of a vehicle, prompting Offset to intervene. Offset, on camera, to bystanders. You touching women. You putting your hands on women. UAB. Dry response on my end. That's the most coherent sentence I've heard out of this man in 18 months. And then there's this one, also from witnesses on scene. Offset reportedly warned the chauffeur that if he touches another woman, he'll beat him up himself. No reaction needed for that one. It speaks loud enough. Here's where my eyebrow climbs. The confrontation went down at 9:37 a.m. local. Not midnight. Not 4 a.m. after a club. Morning. The day after F1 wrapped. If you know anything about how Grand Prix weekends operate, and I mean really operate, not the postcard version, you know the 48 hours after the checkered flag are when the dark economy clears its inventory. Yachts depart. Charters return. The girls who got flown and get flown out. Or, in some cases, moved somewhere else. That deleted post, that scene Offset walked into, sits right inside that window. Actually, hold on. Let me back this up because this part matters. Interpol ran a coordinated trafficking operation across Europe in 2025 that flagged 1,194 potential victims and arrested 158 suspects, with a focus specifically on sexual exploitation tied to high-traffic luxury events. Their official release notes operations were ongoing across multiple jurisdictions. Las Vegas police separately reported over 70 arrests and 200 identified victims during F1 weekend in their jurisdiction. Miami F1 weekend? 3 trafficking arrests inside the same window. So when Offset's clip surfaces, a private driver in Monaco, the morning after F1, allegedly forcing women out of a vehicle by the throat, that's not just a tantrum on Avenue Princess Grace. That's a pattern the data already named. I'm not declaring anything. I'm saying the geometry lines up. 3 details from the clip that nobody's slowing down enough to catch. The towel guy. Midway through the footage, a man wearing only a towel appears and physically throws the driver to the ground. Towel. Just a towel. Which tells you the bystander was either in a nearby hotel lobby or stepping out of a spa and heard the noise from inside. That's how loud Offset got. Loud enough to summon a man mid-shower. I had to pause it. Read it 3 times. A towel. The vehicle. Black van. Not a taxi. A chauffeur car. Big distinction. Monaco's licensed cabs are clearly marked, metered, and tracked. Private chauffeur services, especially those handling Yacht Week clients, operate in a much grayer regulatory zone and witnesses pointedly describe the driver as a chauffeur, not a cabbie. That single word reframes the whole picture. Cab's answer to dispatch. Chauffeur's answer to whoever booked them. The clock. 9:37 a.m. Not around 10. Not morning-ish. Witnesses gave a precise minute. That detail comes from people who already had their phones out recording before Offset arrived, meaning something had been happening on that street before he showed up. He didn't start the scene. He walked into a scene already in progress and chose to put himself in the middle of it. Whatever you think of this man, and I think a lot of things, that took a kind of courage most rappers, his tax bracket, don't reach for. Watch the framing war. TMZ played it straight. Confrontation, allegations, video, no verdict. Their language is claims. Allegedly. Appears to. Procedural, lawyer approved. Nothing that exposes them. The Jasmine brand leaned harder on the cause. The women. The alleged hair-pulling. The rescue arc. Their headline gives Offset the hero frame. From sentence 1. TikTok aggregators? They cooked him. Comment sections turned it into a redemption arc bit. Half of them joking about the casino. Half of them genuinely calling it the best thing he's done since Migos broke up. And then there's the camp that's been spending the morning insisting the whole thing was staged for press during a custody battle. Steelman that for me real quick. Their argument, man in active divorce, joint custody filing on record, recent allegations from Selena Powell about threats against Diggs, and an alleged restraining order. Yeah. That man has every reason in the world to engineer a look. I'm protective of women moment. Steelman. Now dismantled. You don't stage 9:37 a.m. in Monaco with a witness in a towel and a chauffeur you'd have to bribe into playing villain on camera. The optics are too messy. If it was PR, it was the worst stage PR I've ever seen, and Offset has staged enough PR for me to know what his good work looks like. This wasn't choreography. This was Tuesday for him with the volume turned up. Quick breath. Because now we have to talk about the pink bag. Mainstream read on all this? Offset's having a great week. Stefon's having a weird one. Y'all not looking close enough. Here's the real read. These two men are running the exact same play from opposite directions, and neither one of them has admitted it out loud. Offset, post-divorce filing, post-Selena Powell leaks, sitting on allegations that he threatened to shoot Cardi's new man, and on a restraining order request. That man needs a public image that isn't Violent X. So what does he do? Books Monaco, performs on yachts, and conveniently, ends up the only person on Avenue Princess Grace willing to defend women from a chauffeur. The story practically writes itself. I'm not saying he faked it. I already torched that theory. I'm saying when life hands you a redemption arc at 9:37 a.m., you don't argue with the universe. Now flip the coin. Stefon Diggs, fresh off the public reveal that he welcomed 4 children with 4 different women across 2025, is currently being courted by Cardi B publicly, while also being roasted privately by half the internet. His move? Pink goyard, crop top, pose, defiance. Same play, different uniform. Both of them are running PR through vibes instead of statements. Offset's chosen vibe is protector. Stefon's chosen vibe is soft launch of a new aesthetic. Neither one of these men is talking about the children, the lawsuits, the leaked audio, or the restraining order. They're talking with their bodies, one with fists in a Monaco street, one with a pink purse in a mirror, and both of them are betting on the same thing, that the algorithm rewards energy over explanation. The petty observation? Offset's PR move actually worked. Stefon's didn't. When Stefon clapped back at a commenter, "It's bothering you, huh?" He gave away the only thing a real baddie never gives away. The fact that he read the comment. The whole point of the pose is you don't see the haters. He saw them, engaged them. Then by the next news cycle, his entire Instagram presence was wiped clean again. Same move he ran back in 2023 and again in March 2026. That's not a baddie. That's a man auditioning to be one and forgetting his line. Meanwhile, Offset, who has never claimed to be a saint, walked into a felony-adjacent situation, did the right thing, and walked out of it as the most sympathetic figure in the entire Cardi Offset Diggs triangle. Even the people who hate him are typing okay. Respect, with one hand while typing, but he still ain't paid child support with the other. That's not luck. That's a man who understands what cameras do. The next 48 hours. Don't be shocked when more witness footage from that Monaco street surfaces. Tourists with phones don't stop at the TMZ clip. They post their own angles for engagement. Expect a second video by the weekend showing the lead-up, not just the standoff. When that drops, the trafficking conversation goes from a famed cryptics theory to a CNN segment. And once Monaco police get publicly asked whether they open a file, the story leaves the gossip section and becomes a story. By late summer, expect this. Offset's legal team folds the Monaco footage into the custody filing. Not the audio, not a statement, just the clip. Because that 1 minute of video does more for his fit father, protective of women argument than any deposition his lawyer could draft. The Selena Powell leaks suddenly have a counterweight. Cardi's camp will have to respond. And the response will be careful, because attacking Monaco Offset looks worse than attacking Studio Offset. The aftershock, 5 years out. This becomes the inflection point where Offset gets a second act. Not in music and lifestyle. Watch how the brand offers start trickling in once the dust settles. European luxury moves toward him, because European luxury loves a redemption story it can shoot in Monaco. Stefon, on the other side of the equation, will quietly retire that pink-weird era the same way Bruce Jenner quietly retired fitted blazers, present, then absent, then revised history. And Cardi, she's the wild card, because the woman has watched both of these men try to outmaneuver her this year, and she hasn't picked up the chess piece yet. When she does, somebody loses their queen. The line I keep coming back to. The man with the most to apologize for spent the morning saving strangers, and the man with the most to brag about spent it arguing with strangers. That's the whole story. That's where I leave it. Y'all saw what I saw. You know what to do. Hit the like if this hit. Subscribe if you want the rest. Ring the bell because the next breakdown is already drafted, and it's gonna be uglier than this one. Tell me in the comments. Was Monaco a coincidence or a campaign? I'm reading every reply. Catch you on the next one.